Hi, I'm Jocelyn from Transcend Wellness, and welcome to this week's Healing Downloads. For those of you who are new, we come together every week to do a group session for all the subscribers, and then I send out the healing downloads to everyone that's watching. So let's begin with the first deck and see what we need for this week. The first fractals coming up are going to help us to let go of control and hooks that we have from our old ancestral patterns or behaviors that are holding us back. So our ancestors gave us a lot of amazing things, but they also passed us some old patterns and behaviors that served them, but in the new world that we're living in, they're no longer helping us, and they're actually holding us back. So we're going to release those old patterns and behaviors, as well as release any control or possession that our family or family obligations may have over us that are stopping us from fully living our purpose and showing our true selves, as well as doing the things that we truly want to do. So this is going to help remove all those final resolutions, quantum leap us into a whole new energy to process and integrate everything in this new way. So take a deep breath. Now we have removing all the expectations that are creating limitations, creating the opposite result, and really breaking out of these patterns. I know we've been talking about this in the last few sessions, and that's because this is a really big pattern that we need to just shatter and break. And we need to start taking everything from this curious, childlike wonder. So next time something happens, rather than having expectations of it, of how it's going to turn out or anything, we just need to be curious and say, okay, I'm curious to see where this is going to take me, or I'm curious to see what the message is, why this is happening to me. That way we can keep everything to its infinite potential, and we can go through life through this more stable, aligned place. So now we want to take all the pressure off of it as well, because everything in life is a transition. Nothing is permanent. So if we can stay in that mindset and be flexible, then the decisions and situations won't seem as hard and as daunting, because we know, okay, we're going to be curious to see where this is going to go. This is no pressure. If it doesn't work out, we can always shift out of it. We can always transition it into something else. And who knows, we might need to take this step in order to get to the next step. So if we can remove all the pressure, it'll be a lot easier process, and it'll also flow better. So take a deep breath. It's coming up that there's a lot of stored information around money and money beliefs, whether it's being deserving of money, or whether it's that you'll never get abundance, or that things are always going to be difficult and sticky. So these fractals are going to help release and eliminate all of those things to bring in that flexibility and money, prosperity, attraction, so that you can be on that frequency and that belief system that's then going to attract it to you easily. Take a deep breath. Now we have issues around abandonment and loneliness coming up, and during this pandemic it's made things a lot harder, and so that's why for some of us it's been triggered more than others. So we're really going to use these downloads to diffuse it, to release it out, to bring us stability during these difficult times, and resiliency, because this pandemic isn't going to be here forever, and so we want to be able to be resilient through it and use this pandemic for good, rather than sitting in the negatives about it and the frustrations about it. Being frustrated that things are the way that they are right now isn't going to make it shift any faster. So it's about turning it around and saying, well, how can I use this pandemic to make things in my life better? What can I do that I've been putting off? What do I need to reassess in my relationships? Anything that you know that you should have been doing but you haven't been doing, now is the time to do it. Because like I said, this pandemic's not going to be here forever. So when we come out of it, you want to come out of it as the new you. So take a deep breath. So we've been on a journey of really being able to find our authentic self and truly be our authentic self. It's coming up that there's still barriers and blocks and things clinging on that are holding us back. So this is really going to help to release all of that, to open it up so that we can get in tune with our authentic self and then just be. Take a deep breath. So what's interesting is these fractals are quite similar to last week's fractals. We got caregiver complex. So we really need to stop taking care of everyone and everything around us and being worried about their shift, when really what we need to do is own our shift and make the changes that we need to on the inside, because as we shift, we're then going to help everyone around us shift. But if we don't make the shift and we just focus on everyone else's shift and we get stuck in that, they're not going to shift and we're not going to shift. So this is really to just say, okay, we need these extra downloads because we started working on it last week, but we need that extra push this week to really get the message, to really shift it out and start owning our shift and letting go of all the things, all the distractions that are getting in the way. Take a deep breath. Now we have healing our mental health, helping us to know that we're not alone, that we're loved, and that we're in the solutions. We're also releasing distress and then helping us to use this time to practice our skills to regulate our emotions. Because if we can regulate our emotions rather than be consumed by our emotions, everything will just be so much easier. We'll have so much more satisfaction in our life, so much more tranquility. Everything will just be easier because our emotions aren't making it worse than it needs to be. So take a deep breath. Now we have removing all the gaslighting and the stress that comes with that. All of the doubt and the insecurities that comes from other people gaslighting us and us believing it, as well as us gaslighting ourselves. We need to nurture ourselves instead. So these fractals are going to help us to do that, to remove the hopelessness so that we don't sabotage things with our hopelessness. So that if we can stay in our faith and our trust and our hope, our vibrations will be high, our frequencies will be there, will resonate, and will attract things to us. But if we're hopeless and we're down and we lower our vibrations and we're stuck, and then things don't work out and they keep not working out and not working out, we wonder why. We did it to ourselves. So this is going to help us to remove that so we don't keep hurting ourselves, to nurture and love ourselves instead, support ourselves, and help us to repair. Take a deep breath. Thank you everyone for joining us this week. And remember, this is an overall group session, so if you'd like to go more in depth to find out what the main roots are for you, then please contact us at transcendwellness.co. This week is all about owning our shift, to really put into practice everything that's come up in the last few sessions. We know all the things that we need to do, and they keep coming up because we haven't been fully able to step into that. But this week we are. We're going to push through it. We're going to say enough is enough. We're going to break all those patterns to help us to move forward, removing all those expectations and limitations, to really come from this place of curiosity to see what's going to happen this week. What's going to happen if I work on regulating my emotions rather than being consumed with my emotions? How much more can I create this week instead of putting out all these fires because I kept reacting to things? And also seeing how enjoyable you can make it. We can create heaven on earth if we choose to. We're not just going to one day wake up and everything's going to be perfect. Life is going to continue to happen. Good and bad things are going to happen. The only way we can shift it to be more enjoyable is to stop reacting to it. We can appreciate the learnings and the difficult times because we know that those things bring us our biggest growth. Rather than fighting against it and resisting it, we can step into it. And then life will be so much more beautiful. So I wish you all a beautiful Heaven on Earth week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.